Members of ASU UNILAG and students protested the 9 unresolved demands of the union by the federal government. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says $150 billion Samoa agreement entered into by the federal government is the best interest of the country. He says the agreement did not contravene the Nigerian constitution and other laws of the land, including the law against same-sex marriage. The minister was reacting to a report which suggested that Samoa agreement included clauses that require underdeveloped and developing nations to support lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ rights as a condition for receiving financial and other forms of support from advanced countries. The Senate has passed for the third reading the bill seeking the establishment of the North Central Development Commission. The bill was sponsored by the senator representing Benue South Senatorial District, Abba Moro, and other senators from the North Central region. The Victor Oko-Jumbo-led Rivers State House of Assembly, loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, has said it has filed an appeal at the Supreme Court to challenge the judgment of the appeal court delivered in Abuja. Oko-Jumbo made this known in a statement issued in Port Harcourt by the federal clerk of the House, Dr. G.M. Gillis West. The factional speaker says the Assembly strongly believes that the Court of Appeal was in error when it held that the Rivers State High Court lacked the jurisdiction to hear and determine suit number PHC 1512 CS 2024. Oko-Jumbo declared that there remains the Speaker of the State Legislature because there cannot be two houses of assembly in the state. A federal high court in Abuja has declared as invalid the People's Democratic Party's primary election that produced Asue Ighodalo as a governorship candidate. The primary election conducted on February 22, 2024 was voided on the ground that 378 delegates who were supposed to vote at the primary election were unlawfully excluded by PDP. Samuel Odi has details.
Edem Ikwer invalidated the primary elections while delivering judgment in a suit instituted by aggrieved delegates. The suit marked THC/ABJ/CS/165/2024 was instituted by one Honorable Kelvin Mohammed in a representative capacity. Some of his counsel spoke on the judgments of the court.
To learn that if you violate your constitution, you violate the electoral guidelines you have made, you refuse to listen to the wishes and aspirations of your members, there's a consequence. And that is what has transpired today. The court has held that because the PDP, which is the second defendant in this case, has refused to comply by its own electoral guidelines, Section 50, 36 of its own constitution, and the provisions of Section 82 and 84 of the Electoral Act, its ad hoc delegate congress of 4th and 5th February 2024, the court just declared it as a nullity.
Gentlemen, I must say straight away that no counsel must be allowed to mislead the nation and to mislead the audience. This honorable court did not make any order nullifying the primary and the election of Dr. Asue Ighodalo as the PDP candidate who won that primary election by 577 votes.
Former Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, declared the judgment as a triumph of rule of law over impurity.
Like I said, after the primaries, if you recall, I did insisted that what happened in Samuel Ogumiloro Stadium was lacking to a birthday party or a reception for a wedding at Samuel Ogumiloro Stadium. It was not a primaries, because you cannot imagine the Ashwebi people coming to say they are doing primaries. And you cannot disenfranchise the authentic delegate. You remember I used the word. I have used the word consistently that authentic delegates voted for me. I use the word consistently. The people that I saw at Samuel Ogumiloro today were not delegates. They were staff of government. I said that. So as far as I'm concerned, this judgment is for democracy. This judgment is for Edo people. And Edo people should know that by the grace of God, together, we will take our government back from outsiders.
Justice Ekwo held that both the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 and PDP guidelines were grossly violated in the conduct of the primary election at Samuel Ogbodiame Stadium in Benin City. Samuel Odi reporting for Global TV News.
Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani has approved new policies to optimize and prioritize the state-owned government printing department, advance the state's healthcare sector, and address climate change. This approval was made known in a statement from the Kashim Ibrahim House after the State Executive Council meeting. The federal government has raised alarm over possible severe flooding beginning from the end of this month, saying 18 states and the Federal Capital Territory are likely to be adversely affected. The government also warned that prolonged flooding incidents might escalate the cholera cases currently ravaging some states. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Telumon, who served while addressing reporters in Abuja, says Nigeria had been experiencing flash urban floods since May, resulting from high intensification of rainfall, which has been prolonged, as well as poor and blocked drainage systems in many urban areas. He noted that from the end of July, the country might start experiencing river flooding, which might be more devastating. As part of its continued efforts to get rid of illegal smuggling of goods across the country, the Nigerian Customs Service has again seized 11,650 liters of petroleum maltose spirit, popularly called PMS. Speaking while briefing newsmen in Benin Kebbi, Comptroller of the Command, Iheanacho Ernest Ojike, says the command recovered 40 cartons of foreign spaghetti, 50 bales of second-hand clothing, 28 cartons of diclofenac, tablets of 50 milligram, and 10 jerrycans of vegetable oils with total duty paid value of 14,792,400 naira. He further disclosed that the seized PMS will be auctioned to the public with the expectation of generating 8,178,183 naira and will be paid to the coffers of the federal government. You're watching the News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, federal government raises mining rates by 50%. This and other stories coming right after this break. You stay with us.
Government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more. All on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet events to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world, all in one place. Tune in every Saturday by 1 p.m. with Chung Annabelle Joseph on Global Television.
In an ever-busy world, The increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first. Get ready.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Express. On the foreign scene, outgoing British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced his official resignation and apologized after his party was defeated by Labour in the UK general election. Speaking to media in front of Downing Street, Sunak tendered an apology before leaving to tender his resignation to King Charles III. However, Sunak highlighted an aspect of his achievements while leading Britain as Prime Minister. Britain's new Labour government has pledged immediate action to grow the economy after clinching a landslide election victory to oust the Conservatives. But its task could be hampered by strained state finances following huge COVID expenditure. Britain's new Labour government has pledged immediate action to grow the economy by clinching a landslide election victory to oust the Conservatives, but its task could be hampered by strained state finances following huge COVID expenditures. The centre-left Labour administration, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has promised investment in key areas such as health and education, but also stresses the need to balance the books. This is after government coffers were further hit by subsidies for energy bills after Russia's invasion of Ukraine sent oil and gas prices rocketing. On the foreign scene, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will travel to Washington next week for a North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO summit, where he is expected to sound the alarm on Russia and North Korea's recent military cooperation. Yoon's Deputy National Security Advisor Kim Tae-yeol said NATO members and the so-called Indo-Pacific Four, Korea, Japan, Australia and New Zealand will confirm their shared commitment to protecting the international order in the face of the challenges seen in both the Eastern and West hemispheres. Ahead of his visit to Washington, Yoon will stop off at the U.S. military's Indo-Pacific Command in Hawaii and receive a security briefing. Polls open today for Iran's runoff presidential election. The Interior Ministry say pitting reformist candidate Masoud Pezeshkian against ultra-conservative Saad Jalili in the race to succeed Ebrahim Raisi, who died in a May helicopter crash. The Islamic Republic's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has the final say in all the state matters, cast his ballot when the polls opened. The vote comes against the backdrop of heightened regional tensions over the war in Gaza, Iran's dispute with the West over its nuclear program, and popular discontent at the state of the country's sanctions-hit economy. In business, the federal government has presented the outcomes of its review of the Accelerated Stabilization and Advancement Plan, which seeks to inject 2 trillion naira into the economy in the next 6 months. President Bola Tinubu says his administration is determined to, in the next few months, increase crude oil production to 2 million barrels per day and generate more electricity for Nigerians. The president made this known while inaugurating a 31-member Presidential Economic Coordination Council at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. Nigeria's debt to suppliers of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, has surpassed $6 billion, doubling what it was since early April, as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited struggles to cover the gap between fixed pump prices and international fuel costs. Although this was swiftly described as false by NNPC, while stating that the national oil company began struggling early this year when late PMS payments surpassed $3 billion. The Senate has mandated its standing committees on appropriation, power, and finance to probe into the entire Mambila hydroelectric power project's transactions from 1999 to date. The Senate also appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to include the project as one of his major legacy projects in the country. The Lagos State government and the Nigerian Senate have opened engagement to promote water transportation in the state. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says there is need for the federal and state governments to be on the same page on waterways. Sanwo-Olu assures that the state government will continue to improve and enhance its working relationship with the federal government authority, the National Inland Waterways Authority. According to him, the State Ministry of Waterfront Infrastructure was set up to put in place the right and needed infrastructure around waterways in the state, and therefore urged NIWA to be on the same page with the state government. The Standards Organization of Nigeria, SAN, says it intends to use its Product Authentication Mark, PAM, to give consumers the power to detect, reject, and report substandard products in the country. As a general sensitization and PAM scheme in Lagos, the Director General SAN, Ifeanyi Okeke, explained that the program is to increase awareness of the scheme, pointing out that the initiative is introduced by the organization to enable consumers verify the authenticity of all SAN-regulated products in the market in its continued effort to curb the influx of substandard imported goods into the country. The Nigeria Labour Congress has frowned at the recent hike in tariff payable by Band A customers from 206.80 naira per kilowatt hour to 209.5 naira per kilowatt hour. In a statement by the president of NLC, Joe Ajaero, disclosed that the hike in electricity tariff represented the height of impunity and arrogance, saying the development will put more companies out of business as well as create more difficulties for consumers. The federal government has increased the rates and charges of all activities in the mining sector. Dele Alake, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, who disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the new charges in Abuja, expressed concerns over non-remittance by some operators. Alake says mining operators in the industry were making huge amounts of money but have refused to remit them to the federal government. The Ogun State government has warned illegal miners and dredgers will face stiff sanctions as it is prepared to take legal actions against anyone who engages in the activities within the state. The Commissioner for Industry, Trade and Investment, Adebola Shofela, represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Dr. Oluola Akioluola, issued the warning during a miners and dredgers stakeholders meeting held in Okemosa, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Shofela's warning extended to miners and dredgers operating with expired documents, as he stated how irresponsible mining and dredging are destructive to the community and state infrastructure. In sports, the chairman, Professional Footballers Association of Nigeria, Task Force Harrison Jala, has charged the Nigeria Football Federation to account for the FIFA funds the body received from 2014 to 2024. Jala, in a statement, says the World Football Body handed the NFF a total of 21.1 million naira in grants in 10 years, alleging that the money was misappropriated. Chairman of Borno State Football Association, Babagana Kali, has attributed the recent accomplishment of El Kanemi Warriors to the cordial relationship existing between the management of the club and the Football Association. It could be recalled that soon after they picked the promotion ticket to the Nigeria Premier Football League, NPFL, the Borno Warriors went a step further to win the prestigious Federation Cup trophy, which they last won in 1992. They have now qualified to represent Nigeria in next year's CAF Federation Cup along with former African champions Eyimba. Speaking exclusively, Babagana expressed happiness over the resurgence in El Kanemi Warriors, which has happened in his time as the chairman of the Borno Football Association. The Super Eagles have been given another chance to avenge their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying defeat to the Cheetahs of Benin Republic in Abidjan following the pairing of both teams in Group D of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying series. Both teams were paired together in a draw as they aim to be among the 24 countries that will participate in the 35th Africa Cup of Nations scheduled for Morocco, 21st December 2025 to 18th January 2026. The Super Eagles were placed in pot 1 ahead of the main draws. In Group D, the lineup includes Nigeria, Benin, Libya, and Rwanda. Only the first two teams will progress to the AFCON finals. Erik ten Hag has signed a contract extension that would keep him at Old Trafford until 2026. There had been intense speculation over the Dutchman's future after a poor 2023 to 2024 Premier League campaign, but he guided the club to FA Cup success against Manchester City. To end the Global TV News Express, let's take a look at our top stories. Federal government plans 2 trillion naira economic revival scheme and inaugurates council. Academic Staff Union of Universities threatens strike over unmet demands. On the foreign scene, UK's Labour Party wins general election. And in sports, Ten Hag signs new deal at Manchester United. That's it on the News Express, and it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.